My Weird School, Book Number 8. Miss Lagrange is Strange. Written by Dan Gutman. Pictures by Jim Palott. Chapter 5. Fran's Talk and Frog's Legs. The next day there was a sign in front of the school. Welcome, Miss Lagrange. Mr. Klutz was standing at the front door next to a lady I never saw before. Her hair stuck out from under a big chef's hat, and she was wearing an apron with the words, "Make lunch, not were" on it. "Miss Lagrange, this is AJ," Mr. Klutz said when I reached the top of the steps. "Maybe you can get him to eat some vegetables." "Bonjour, Mr. AJ," said Miss Lagrange. "You talk funny," I said. "Miss Lagrange comes from France," Mr. Klutz told me. "Bonjour means hello in French." "Well, bonjour to you too," I said. When we got to class, everybody was talking about Miss Lagrange, the new lunch lady. "Miss Daisy, where is France?" asked Andrea. "I have no idea," said Miss Daisy, who never knows anything. "I wonder how she ever got a job as a teacher." Miss Daisy pulled down a big map of the world. We looked all over the map until we found France. It was on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. "Did Miss Lagrange swim to school?" asked Emily. "What a dumbhead." "She probably took an airplane," said Miss Daisy. "If she took an airplane, she should give it back," I said. Nobody laughed at my joke, even though it was funny. We were supposed to work on our Welcome Elementary banner, but Miss Daisy let us use the computers to go on the internet and learn more about France. We learned all kinds of things. Did you know that France gave us the Statue of Liberty? I guess they didn't want it. When my mom has stuff that she doesn't want, she gives it away. Or sometimes she just throws it in the garbage. Ryan found out that in France they eat snails and frogs' legs. I thought I was gonna throw up. "What do they do with the rest of the frog?" Michael asked. "Miss Lagrange will probably serve it for lunch," Ryan said. I said I liked French food, like French fries and French toast. "You silly dumbhead," Andrea said. "French fries aren't French. Are too, are not." We went back and forth like that for a while, until Miss Daisy asked if anyone knew anything else about France. "I know a poem about France," I said. "Oh, will you share it with us, AJ?" So I said my poem. "I see London, I see France, I see Emily's underpants." Emily got up and ran out of the room, crying. What is her problem? It was just a poem. After we learned everything about France, we learned more about ancient Egypt. Miss Daisy showed us pictures of the pyramids. They were cool. Then she said it was time for math, even though she doesn't know anything about math. She can't even add or subtract, so we have to teach her. Miss Daisy begged us not to tell Mr. Klutz how dumb she is because she doesn't want to be fired. Miss Daisy is crazy. Finally, it was time for lunch with Miss Lagrange. We were so excited. Chapter 6. Welcome to Café Lagrange. When we walked into the vomitorium, it looked completely different. I thought that maybe we were in the wrong place. The lights were turned down so low you could hardly see. There was a sign in the corner that said, Café Lagrange. The tables were covered with tablecloths and fake candles that were really electric lights. There was even music. A few of the fifth graders in the orchestra were playing violins, It sounded like the noise you make when you pinch the end of a balloon and let the air out. Ooh, Emily said. It's beautiful. It's like going to a fancy restaurant. If there's one thing I hate more than school and vegetables, it's going to fancy restaurants. But I didn't say anything. We were all on our best behavior because we wanted to make a good impression on Miss Lagrange. Wait until elementary comes to our school and sees this, Andrea said. She's going to be really impressed. Suddenly, Miss Lagrange came out of the kitchen. Bonjour, she said in that French talk. Welcome to Café Lagrange. Bonjour, we all said back. The specials of the day are French Sloppy Joe sandwiches, French Salisbury steak, French chili surprise, and French tuna casserole, said Miss Lagrange. It sounds yummy, said Andrea, who compliments grown-ups no matter what they do. We got in line. It all looked like the same old disgusting foods to me, except that they had the word French in front of them. Do you have any French peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? I asked. Whoever invented the peanut butter and jelly sandwich was a genius. No, but I have French mashed potatoes, Miss Lagrange said. I looked at the mashed potatoes. They looked pretty normal, except for one thing. There were letters written in them. The letters were Y-A-W-Y-E. It didn't even spell a word. Miss Lagrange, what does yaw-ee mean? Asked Ryan. Oh, that is my little secret, she replied. Maybe I will tell you someday. Who would like to try French peas and carrots? Me, said Andrea, who loves every horrible tasting thing that's good for you. Not me, I said. Did you ever try peas or carrots, Mr. AJ? No. Well, how do you know you don't like them if you don't try them? She asked. I never tried eating dirt, I said, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't like that. Won't you please try my peas and carrots, Mr. AJ? She said. Pretty please? No. Suddenly, Miss Lagrange picked up one of those spray bottles that lunch ladies use to clean off the tables. She pointed it at me. Then she squirted water in my face. Hey, I shouted. What's the big idea? Anyone who refuses to try peas and carrots will be sprayed, said Miss Lagrange. Everybody else took some peas and carrots. The yellow traffic light was on, so we were allowed to whisper at our tables. Miss Lagrange is strange, I said as I wiped off my face. Yeah, Ryan agreed. What's the deal with those mashed potatoes? What do you think yaw-ee means? We all thought about it. I know what it means, Michael said. You always wash your ears. Maybe it means, yes, always wipe your elbows, guessed Ryan. I know, I said. Young adults want yellow elephants. That makes no sense at all, Michael said, throwing one of his tater tots at me. We were still trying to figure out what yaw-ee meant when Miss Lagrange came around from table to table with one of those big pepper shakers. Are you sure you won't try my French peas and carrots, Mr. AJ? She asked. If I say no, are you going to brain me with that pepper thing? I asked. Of course not, she replied. But you know, AJ, carrots are good for your eyes. You never saw a rabbit wearing glasses, did you? I never saw a bird wearing glasses either, I replied. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna eat worms. Andrea and her annoying friends at the next table turned around. I bet you'd like baby carrots, AJ, Andrea said. They're yummy. Do you know where baby carrots come from? Asked Miss Lagrange. Baby carrots grow out of the ground, Andrea said. That's disgusting, I said. Food comes in cans and jars and boxes, not out of the ground. I'm not going to eat something that grew in dirt. Americans are silly, said Miss Lagrange. In France, I grew my own food in a garden behind my house. Say, maybe we can start a vegetable garden out by the playground so you can learn where food comes from. That would be wonderful, said Andrea. We can work in the garden during recess. Oh, great. We get 20 minutes all day to run around, and we'll have to spend that time digging in the dirt for yucky vegetables. I think Miss Lagrange saw me wrinkle up my nose because she said she likes sugary treats just like me. She said she has a special treat in the freezer and she's going to wait for a special occasion to give it to us. It's probably dead frogs with no legs. Chapter 7. Secret Agents. After lunch, we had social studies. Miss Daisy showed us a video about the pyramids in Egypt. She said that when the pyramids were built, they didn't have trucks or cranes or machines, and each of those rocks weighed over 1,000 pounds. How did they pick them up? I asked. I have no idea, said Miss Daisy, who doesn't know anything. We spent the rest of the afternoon working on our Welcome Elementary banner. She was coming to visit any day. Finally, the little hand on the clock reached 3, and the big hand reached 12. 3 o'clock. Hooray! I walked home with Ryan and Michael. Those pyramids are cool, I said. How do you think they picked up those big rocks? It's a mystery, said Ryan. The big mystery is that the secret code Miss Lagrange writes in the mashed potatoes, Michael said. We have to figure out what ya-yee means. Maybe it means you all wet your envelopes, suggested Ryan. Maybe it means yes, we have no bananas, I suggested. That would be YWHNB, dumbhead, said Michael. Close enough, I said. Maybe Miss Lagrange isn't a lunch lady at all, Michael said. Did you ever think of that? What do you mean? Asked Ryan. Maybe she's a fake, Michael said. Maybe she kidnapped our real new lunch lady and locked her in the freezer. Stuff like that happens all the time, you know. My friend Billy around the corner told me they freeze dead people so they can bring them back to life in the future, I said. Your friend Billy is weird, said Ryan. I bet our real lunch lady is in the freezer, I said. Along with Miss Lagrange's special dessert, Michael said. And the secret of ya-yee, added Ryan. That's when I got the most genius idea in the history of the world. We should go back to school and see what was in the freezer. You know me, I don't like going to school in the morning. I sure didn't like the idea of going back at the end of the day. But we all agreed that this was important. We had to save the frozen lunch lady. We had to find the secret of ya-yee. And we had to get a taste of that special dessert Miss Lagrange was hiding. So, we went back to school. The side door near the vomitorium was open. We tiptoed inside. Nobody was around. We pretended we were secret agents. We snuck into the back of the kitchen. There's the freezer, Ryan said. We made sure no grown-ups were around, and then we pulled open the door. The freezer was so big you could walk into it. We could see our breath. "This is cool," I said, stepping inside. "It's cooler than cool," said Ryan. "It's freezing." It was dark in the freezer. I didn't see any frozen lunch ladies or special desserts. There were just a bunch of big boxes. "Let's get out of here," Michael said. "This place is..." That's when the door slammed shut. Everything went completely dark. We were stuck in there. Chapter 8. The most horrible, terrible, awful thing in the history of the world. We couldn't see a thing. We didn't know where the light switch was. We didn't know where the door handle was. We were trapped. "Oh no," said Michael. "How are we gonna get out?" Ryan asked. "School is closed. Everybody went home." "We're gonna turn into icicles," said Michael. "My friend Billy told me about this Iceman guy they found in Italy," I said. "He was frozen solid for 1,000 years. "Help! Help!" we screamed. We pounded on the door with our fists. "Somebody help!" Ryan shouted. "We're locked in the freezer." We must have been in there for 1,100,000 minutes when suddenly the door opened. Miss Lagrange was standing there. "What are you boys doing in here?" I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I had to think fast. "Bonjour," I said. "We were looking for the boys' bathroom." "Well, this isn't it," she said. "Come out of there. You'll freeze your tootsies off." Miss Lagrange was really nice. She made us hot chocolate and promised that she wouldn't tell anyone we were sneaking around in the freezer. And she made us promise we would never go near the freezer again. I thought that nothing could be worse than getting trapped in the freezer. But when I got home from school, the most horrible, terrible, awful thing in the history of the world happened. The mailman came. My mom went through the mail. She told me there was an envelope for me. I opened it up. There was a card inside. This is what it said. "You are invited to Andrea's birthday party."